Yemo obi bia akwa about the smart Ghana update so we a news update for frokra na de ba besom. Abusua Agyapadeɛ Book no na Adakabri Frimpong Manso ebusa ho nsɛm na ne nyina ekɔ edema President Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo agese wo kyire mu a first time a President Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo ete Agyapadeɛ Book ho asɛm eye breben na ede enso so na wote fa ho na oso wo busa ne sɛ content no ade sɛ wagitum na wose wagituma na asese yekohwehwe na adwen mu sɛde gabi wo kyere daako ono ana busuani eka na ana wotoa so busa ede nti na dadaada afei na President Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo aba abontin a woka ho asɛm na ama oche hene nso so ka ho asɛm including gabi wo kyere daako ama miracles aboaje enso so ebo ho dahuru ede kyere amansan na ono de wose wo busa sɛ Agyapadeɛ Book ya aba abontin hwan na etintimye na yetintim nso so ede ma hwan esan sɛ wono wasi wanti asese empemponso a yaba bedri sesei de otintim book no ena ehu hia amanfo anase emu nsem na ewo mu no eno ena ehu hia amanfo abusua questions de Adakabri Frimpong Manso ebusa President Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo ene Ghana fo pa ama ono ankasa nso ede nsem kakra atodwa afa Agyapadeɛ Book ya aba abontin a eye dede ewo man Ghana ha amanfo ebusa questions no mo pese o mo kire se ade se esese ehwehwe nipa a o kire se book yi abusua me ma me kasa nwa me pese yebekọ ne akwakoti ono ankasa
Agyapadeɛ document no first time a wote ho asɛm ene breben na die na wote efa ho na contents no ugitum anase se wo bagi atoma me abeka se yezame wadwene wadwene na die ne yehwehwe na die nti na fei na president of the republic wo kan ho asɛm eye wahene kese kan ho asɛm eye gabi ochida kon kan ho asɛm na miracles aboaje eso eton. But are your government political appointees, political cronies acting the entire Agyapadeɛ Book out? It is as if the story Ghanaians are watching under your leadership was produced and directed by you, family and friends, political appointees and political cronies. Mr. President, the Agyapadeɛ document is not fair and it has been in existence for over 4 years. Mr. President, you and your Achim Mafia have been exposed big time. So stop blaming the opposition for your government's failure, indiscretions, excesses, and incompetence. Currently, Ghana needs a change of leadership and government to occasion proper accountability of the stewardship of the MPP's family and friends government, the looting of state properties, the great loot and share, the open thievery and shameless corrupt acts from the presidency to the almost government appointees of Nanado and Bawumia-led administration. This Agyapadeɛ document is not fiction, but a true script from Nanado, Bawumia, and the Achim Mafia. Nanado answers to Agyapadeɛ documents is not convincing, and I thought he was ready for the names behind the documents. For so many years, he has refused to answer his admission and omission. Agyapadeɛ Book no President di Muayaba Wahene kese di Muayaba Gabi ochire daako di Muayaba na Agyapadeɛ Book no ahunu bi pati munsem. What do you make of it? Agyapadeɛ hwan na etintim ye na otintim ema hwan Agyapadeɛ Book yo otintim ema hwan na babia pomponso a yadure nipa wotintim ya ne yahwehwe no anase ensem awomuo na yehwe emfie se ohoni a Agyapadeɛ anammo ano emfie se nan ni no afei and the president of the republic atene se aduasa aka ho asem afei na Gabriel Nana Yaw esare ochire daako ono so watwero bibia fa ho afei na eye wahene kese asona piesie eye osagefo amuatu aferipanyi ono so akasa ede afa ho na afei na eye miracles aboaje wo chire mu yaw
ofa
ma hen
ejo so ofa
Agyapadeɛ book no yaw na agidi.
Over me as man for years na been share with you for. Over me de megidi. Megidi den pa but
Eh, there was
a
a psychiatric hospital there kwa exam uti o. Gabi oche da ko se wuni abegye de register exam uti.
so Gabi na be in charge of that psychiatric hospital there na meko amana exam me. Na
Adena wugidi.
Yo, offer, let us say, Agyapadeɛ document, media, marginal mono, megidi pa. If you say, if you page 1, you see the last page, almost every plan be a woman has been implemented. Of us, Obekaya, Emera Abawe Eba Bremono, Omo Putu moratorium on the small scale miners and what we term as Galamsi, Omunina. Na ekonim kakra man nkrofo hye ase ka se baby adrun dia no hye nkrofo fra no wuye and demonstrations ahoro nti before say aba no oba left sa moratorium no na say per this book no mo trase awie omo hyehyɛ a omo fee say nkrofo ase omo be handle that sector no I affiliated to them nti so oba hwa ukọ omo book no mu a omo atro say licenses ahoro ye issue emma your friends small scale miners any omo na omo dis adwuma no oko page 10 no a state last paragraph of first second and fourth paragraph a state wo say licenses are ye issue your first on the 1st of July 2016 ni nyina no null and void nti se obi pese will sign those people should come back to reapply, which means that they had concluded in Kofi say or more use for the company or more affiliated companies. Until page 11, 12 going now, or more listed about 332 small scale mining companies. Probably it is alleged they are aligned with them from the various regions, and the person in charge to lead this exercise, according to the book, Ura Asantebedia too. Offer over banking cleanup sector no they were a course no it is exactly what they have planned in this book. Indigenous banks no omo fee say omo affiliated to the opposition NDC and then other rival political parties no they decided to clear all of them so as to ensure say their bank will be the banking sector that will be leading the financial sector. They have also stated clearly say NDC, the largest opposition, were not smart enough to analyze the cost involved in closing down these banks. They have not asked them for detailed document regards the amount used in closing down of the banks. And indeed, that closing down of the banks allowed them to receive resources from backdoor into their financial sector. Offer insurance. Insurance yen na eyenimsem ene state insurance akoyebo achibidi emu normal nka say state insurance insure ni nyina no akodi enterprise insurance ensa ofa mesa mchi aba forward no omo aye no ofa eho na ehu in the sense say every single item there has been implemented, and I say the plan appears to be one that say it has been the most wicked plan ever to be implemented by a political party that came to, as it were, alleviate the plight of the people of the country. Interestingly enough, this document sought to alienate the Ashanti of their powers in terms of a more numerical strength. Until they planned that it was very critical to ensure, say, the battle or the mantle was not handed over to an Ashanti to become the flag bearer, but rather a non-Akan. And that has clearly happened. Until I believe the document, in total, from page 1 to the end.
Na everybody and sad document, Osaka be.
From the early part, in first quarter of 2020.
First quarter of 2020, Nansakai. The book no one at Troy.
Of a book, Autumn, maybe me pese me de edin betudwa. But ofa am say they will say odwane akoche no me ni baby a ode no kosi. Enti they know themselves.
Na book no ya chro baby the way na oye author na
of obi obeso push me ko no I know den kakra na ube ho say forward no first page no na osagefo amwachifo pen na ya chro ne din ho na say wo ba friend say after the forward report forward oforiata simply oforiata and I actually in pen right
oforiata ni atwa na say DM oforiata
when you actually oforiata in pen
Dineje said there's one breath DM oforiata there's another breath as you are saying oforiata and to say it to me it raises a little doubt as to the authenticity of the book ubebua ne saying
offer anybody who raised doubt about this document, now they want to say probably he or she hasn't gotten a copy to read. Now, so when you a copy, so I read now say or raise doubt on this book and just say on you're patriotic to this nation. In the sense, as a can this is a BNC, yeah, we would have no cause to have held on to this document. Indeed, offer electricity company take over or more to Nina was part of the phase 1. In their setbacks, regards human comparison mudi, Nankebe in number be do monsa. Civil society organizations, any opposition parties, every concern, am up to date. Somehow they couldn't materialize. It be electricity takeover, which they took about 6 months bills from us freely, more or less. They didn't invest 1 peso, but they sought to take bills from the people of this country are more free unless the action as Rebecca assembly because they one put any scabby said this is a sky idea to invest in that particular sector or more yes sir Agyapong LLC also and also they were surprised say it faced some challenges but they concluded by saying say because they included some non-action people in their midst. And out of their greed and selfishness, Agyapong LLC was shut down by the minority, by the help of civil service societies, also more crusading minority in their power to shut down that particular deal. But this book, and as this document, I don't know. I would urge Asanteman especially to have copies to read. I will urge the Muslim community to have copies to read. I will urge the pastors, all of them, to have copies to read. So we are MPP near RDB because what is happening is not say the airports may be affecting opposition parties involved. The whole country. And interesting of the hard drink I say, and yeah, action for no matters no my will, a sect of action people, a sect.
For instance, the woman say, yeah. Who could our copy no?
Oh, could a copy.
Okay. Electronically, 38 pages. Hard copy ne could now a year as a photocopy ya reproduce one. How many pages?
The only crowd, of course, all the about 36 Johan.
You could only 36 and electronically there a woman phone so variously back 38 back 41 in the head then same book no you could a different number of pages
offer no for instance the first page in our picture it doesn't have a number so you cannot include it as a page on its own in the page in start is so canon from front and back there, and you're not the cramming a version 38, but the numbers start from the last chapter of the forward.
And the Okutano, supposedly book letter, ya photocopy, and you abandon it together. Yes. Who has the original book now? Ubenya color photo of Osaje from working for a penny na green, yellow, no AD him woman.
I know there was soft copy. No.
But who has the because the Kuta and I said desktop publication be and the photocopy the so I'm asking, do you know say Obi Kuta hard copy we don't the photo in black and white our hin that one more green and yellowy at them way.
Patron of that may no soft copy and I'm a print free www.awakenewsroom.com and me hear copy. Now I'm starting to study the authenticity of that particular document. Now I have faced hostilities from that point on many platforms until recent times. And Sana Adewe Ebedu Babia Eduno. Yes, people.
A dear pana a wedge up a dear numua would be kind your first quarter of 2020 and Sana subsequently at the chrono air BBC.
Offer make about the judiciary. And then I also mentioned about the gold value chain. At the time gold catches be a buyer or mampani a cry about 100 of gold catches at the buyer. I looked at the distribution aspect of it and where they went and which people received them. Of course, I cannot mention all the people who received them. But then, Ocean Kofi distributors are gold catches. YMBC who say, who are those people? Who are those people? And who are behind those small-scale mining entities? Right? And these are areas, and especially when His Excellency, the former President John Dramani Mahama, Becca said, balance the judiciary. A train margin about the perceived puffed up of the judicial system.
Now, first quarter of 2020, ya unsaka a copy of the supposed Agyapadeɛ Book. No, Oking kind say at the time, no, 10 crying a year, Director General of Senate, none deputies, a year, Kofi Bosompem, and one another. Na years to come, ye better say Kofi Bosompem ever call into the Director Generalship of the Senate. Now what to me automatically secure a seat on the board of EcoBank. Now at Myanmar because of that there be a seat on the board of Senate. There be let me get it right. A bit technical. Say Kofi Bosompem ye be yi 10 crying na ye de Kofi Bosompem aba na Kofi Bosompem waba aba benya the opportunity ama ye divest Senate hotels no na ye wa hare na yakwa akofa esankoma yire ama ono so EcoBank na wo matimi anya board omumienu no atimi anya seat on the board of EcoBank. Booking cars are there in 2020.
Offer making can but when I started platforms around because not making car. And one say according to predictions into especially the latest with Ura Kofi Bosompem no making kind but nipa no plan minimum ne soon the bands of Ura Safma for BBC or BBC. Until I have read it, but I had no research who this person is until said this particular thing dropped. And I said no, this cannot be fake. Because who can book now be see especially the Senate saga as well. It tells you clearly say nobody who is a part of this group or click or trust document. Bet me actually there be no trust book here or this document. Every single prediction has come true. And if you look at the fact that they were talking about their phase 1, which is the original document, review after 2020 election, the review that they have done tells you that they achieved a greater part of what they sought to do in the first tenure of Nane's office. His Excellency, the former ambassador to one of this country, Ura Ohinejikum or something. Officer, who a number, bet me a friend, no, besides, we need to be for a Agyapadeɛ document in one. This document has been there for a long time, but we didn't give it the needed attention because, after all, yemu wait into the Obeka, Ubia, and Sanke, a quiet to say, astute journalist for be and also be a said in a voice a question and no boss some way so. And can I say you actually a chepa, but we ignored all chances that we got to have followed this document. Now can bet me a block of certain things that they have done to this nation.
Okay, yeah. My show. Agyapadeɛ document no. First page no you forward no, right? And then after forward no, we benya 1.0 up to 1.44. Now 1.0 up to 1.44 no. Economic and financial sector control.
Yes.
Now economic and financial sector control no. Do you recall a dear no mokafa Dr. Papa Kusindom ho a dear no mokafa Dr. Kwabena Dofo ho
Dr. Papa Kusindom say say about financial sector no dia now can we an impact in terms of coverage in this country. And me myself 2014 I used to work with First Africa Savings and Loans. My gift ya femi that's ne company and as a bank. Nti a little bit of insight regards or more operations. Na owura Papa Kusindom ne kwanya na offer so trend. It had become a threat to allegedly our former finance minister. Nti se obekai random edene enrechi here within the paper better about said this is the letter that went to cabinet. It was shut down and later on for some reasons obi to me jina ho no kwa na so new group of people they collapse the bank now. Dr. Papa Kusindom was a threat and he was a political rival to this incumbent and of course other political parties. Into seeing how he was expanding, it was necessary say now a more such expansion within the local banking system so that the alleged data bank could rise above all these financial institutions. Into there was a deliberate plan to oust him from the financial sector. And anybody who was also close, which is Owura Dufo also, another person I know also did into my banking sector. My contact on a bank maybe. Until I knew a little bit of them, and like I said, national financial sector. Until I knew a little bit of all these people. Until because their political affiliation were not aligned with the current administration, it was necessary that they found ways and means to get rid of them. So that they could, wield the numeric, how do you call it, the financial power to be able to control all these areas. And not just them alone, but other banks also are accounting. So they planned that let's get rid of them, and that is what happened to Papa Kusindom. But unfortunately, I know this particular aspect of making a new book, but it was alleged. If it is true, Papa Kusindom, after his bank was closed down, he fell on allegedly Agyapadeɛ, if that is true, to go and plead on his behalf. So when some of us heard that news, I never put it out though, but I told myself that if you would want somebody to mediate on behalf of you, would you go for Agyapadeɛ? Right now that the whole thing has completely collapsed, you turn around to go and now petition your opponent that you describe his governance as the most worst one, that if you voted for him, you have wasted your vote. But that is just by the side. It was a deliberate attempt and they succeeded because at the time, we were not privy to what they were about regards the financial sector until recently.
Yeah, and you just say, Ujidipa.
Offer Mejidipa. Nobody can.
Because Uchi a year or and I will share at dear Yabiochida Cotroya or say a year then a year yet village back home. Na semi were evil plan, evil only used the word evil. Me were evil plan against a year sa village na yet timunua. Na matna se na matro said the mayeni na babontin se baseya. What would you say me evil plan no me tro ye said the meyeni de meyeni na ba bonten no na wo say nipa no who here to have your head examined. This is coming from Gabriel Nanaya Isari watch the dako.
Odi Nanaya also and my namesake but no call out Francis kakra but you know yantumi am to aso ni san betena offer I'm happy so we use the word evil plan, and indeed this document is interestingly evil. What I mean by that is that offer coup d'etat bebresi wa African continent including Ghana. Before say coup base no nipa ba kum bi no na trase e hye ase na omo anwene omo apenkofo mbe trust omo na omo e de ho plans egu ho. Many a times on the African continent, coup d'etat has been fought as a result of the fact that somebody was included. We feel say adwon we de adwon fin enti e bi a me fetch that kwa report. Enti it is the same situation in this document. Whoever leaked it has helped Ghana. But unfortunately, the opposition parties have sat down for almost everything to be completed. Otherwise, no sanka. Nipo leaky document earlier. Nipo leaky document earlier no sanka ye final serious and kebia we could have stopped a lot of things. Enti the all is neither here nor there. Somebody who was not happy about this document, any leaking, but offer interestingly, MPP members, big shot within the MPP, some of them have this document and they authenticate it, say, hey, true, because a bit FA and now Mukopa and Faumuhano, or more kind, Nasa be a meno mushia, or Mokasa Masa, Sabia will dear, yen to me, Kase, and Yanukure, FA and Sensemas, especially where I was on Pemlady and Bayan. I've had a big shot of MPP telling me that Nkrofoye Buyafa so papa.
But right? Now, sad document on the President of the Republic say a fake. Osaji for what for opinion as soon as PSC say a fiction. And Gabriel Chida conso and I just say a evil document and yet likely so mobile me I hold you. Obi sa evil plan. What's your part now almost fast Samuel Kuhono?
My hair offer now.
Auntie just one can say me at last year plan say Samuel Kudo open ma into me the ma a yenash form. I say why for what purpose? What a almost far John Buadu said John Buadu dear or ye a pure man and intino or the son ebe frimo. The Omo Kafa or your pong cromaho. Tano man must have personalities. One more or that same group. Shadow Kafa Kennedy a compre Agyapong. So, how would they plan so one crop for say no by all?
Offer, a cool beer, even a bushum crown, your crofwa or muhu him. If you look at the caliber of Samioku, may I advocate as Samioku should file to for the flag bearership and cannot make this or partner and easy cry. Samioku is a shining star. Everybody knows, both opposition and incumbent. Likes him, the youth especially. You can't beat that fact. Samuel Oku and others, I don't want to speak for them, but my instinct tells me that they have been very clever in managing this document to stay afloat. So the say, okay, you are not aligned to the next course, right? There are some of them who are just being strategic and diplomatic in being with this incumbent. Deep down their hearts, they know what is happening. Everything that has been said about those individuals, I am in personal ones in Mekohon. Over, tell me which one has not happened and which one is not true. Probably Samuel who has been very clever. What about the Rollins factor? Am I a movie say Rollins? How could he have died so early? The Rollins factor, I don't want to go there, but if you read it, it's damning. And they did it the way they did it. Who would have thought that His Excellency Nana Adom Kufuor, who was Attorney General then, Rollins now, we perceive say or to the extent that he, as an Attorney General, has time to be corrected and revoking the privileges at a point in time. Now, this same man comes back to power, and then the Rollins' family becomes so close to one of their worst and our sworn enemy in politics. How do you understand this whole thing? To the point that the Rollins factor were against their own party that they formed. Also, let us be truthful and candid with facts. right? Into your friends are down. I uncle far bed da Rollins in another down Kokufuado or Muntemano. We need to examine and scrutinize it because baby I do not.
I just omutimi true a seeming rivalry between Oladmochre and Chairman General Kwame Sefakai, describing Chairman General as a calm, cool, and collected person who would always want to wait for the right time to strike, as opposed to a Apostle Paul Admochre or no aggressive and appear to poo any suggestions. You better some grammar. Chairman General Edin Abemobi. For what purpose were they writing this?
They have studied the demeanors of all the your friends, the larger population of the media, especially those we describe as senior journalists. The description of Kwame Sefakai, is it not accurate? Is it not right that he's cool, calm, and collected? What he does behind the scenes is not my business. The description of Paul Adomochi, is it not accurate? Is it not exactly who he is now? Because you see, Paul Adomochi, in my opinion, has made journalism some sort of comic relief for people.
We want to talk about. They were describing them as such, drawing knowledge on Omuminu Enka. For what purpose?
Yes.
For what purpose?
Fine. So, in America, so they have studied the individuals who we describe as senior journalists. Also, in every spectrum of life, if it comes to the entertainment industry, whatever, gospel musicians, Ubia on a rival and they have their beefs here and there. And sir, Ura Kwame Sefakai, and I think I stand to be corrected, Ura Poradumochi, most of the journalists radio good and mother a year or more a firm and it will be a strength how far this person can go and that. Even as we speak, we have top journalists who are enemy to their top journalists because of probably the way either they are rising or some of the things they do behind closed doors.
Yeah, this president of the republic is a fake propaganda. Seminar over the years. Ya can't find ama ne yere kura no dono Elin and cancer Jamina 30 years ago. I would free mo in July 30 years ago. No, still and Crawford can say on the coon no Nina ya asama yaka at the etoro so near the in the same vein. Agyapadeɛ so no the opponents and this if we the secret samija fika ho and na o matwetwe we dey tia no
of a Kofi no why actually now within that very moment no I admit to say men are very unless you use some force either they call something minimal force or the other way around until say Ghana for the do na back can document we His Excellency Nana Dankwa Akufoado's opinion.
Say near the den
to understand what has happened to the economy.
Quite unfortunate. You lose